Welcome back to the channel. This is the Action Figure Grader, and today we're going to look at recent sales for both graded and ungraded vintage Star Wars MOCs, mint on cards, packaged action figures, if you will. And we've got a lot of nice ones here. We've got everything from 12 backs to 20 and 21 backs, some ESB card backs, Transition, Return of the Jedis, lots of really cool stuff here. And most of these were at auction, if not all of these were at auction. There might be one or two buy it now situations, but the prices in general, there were some surprises, as always. It seems like we can't go any video without having a few surprises, both high and low. As always, thanks to my Patreon supporters. You guys allow this channel to happen. Patreon.com/actionfiguregrader is where you can go to sign up. All right, let's take a look. I think we talked about these in my What to Buy video a few weeks back. At the same time, at auction, there was a 12-back B Death Squad Commander AFA 80 punched, and then an AFA 85 unpunched. Both of those did close, so I wanted to show you the sales on those. This was the punched example, straight 80s for the subscore for the DSC. No price sticker. Again, it sold in an auction for $11.25. Big number there. Big number. I've seen a few AFA 80s sell in the 800 to 900 range. Exact same subgrades or very similar subgrades. So a little surprised it went that high, but that was a beauty. I mean, let's be real here. I love the Death Squad Commander. I've only got, I think I've only got one Death Squad Commander mint on card. Wouldn't mind adding another one at some point, maybe next year, but that one was a beauty. And then here is the same card back, 12-back B, unpunched, no price sticker, AFA 85, 85, 80, 85 were the subscores on that one. That one was a beauty. And it sold in an auction, 52 bids. Lots of action on that one for almost $2,000. $19.99 plus $20 shipping. So over $2,000 once you account for the shipping. That's a big number. Again, I think that the AFA population report coming out for different items, you can look up the cert number on AFA's population report. Just sign up for a free account. I think it helps. I think it does help with prices these days for these very high grade early card backs. And this seller had a couple of really nice 20 and 21 backs. This was a 21 back R5. And I will say this, I was a little concerned about the upper left-hand corner on here. It almost looks like they tried to peel the sticker and it caused a little bit of litho damage. It could just be a little squiggle or something like that. But, you know, to the right of the sticker there, it almost looks like they tried to peel it and it didn't go so well, so they left it in place. I don't know that for a fact, but, you know, that's kind of the way it looks to me when you're looking at it there. And that's okay. It doesn't really matter that much. I'm just pointing it out. It sold for $500, one bid. I think that's fair, you know, in the current condition. I don't think that's a bad deal at all. You know, it probably grades out card 75, blister maybe as high as 85, figure 85. Maybe you got an outside chance at a 75 plus, somewhere in that ballpark. I think that the damage in that upper left probably precludes it from getting an 80, but I've been wrong before. I'll be wrong again. This was a beauty. This was a Princess Leia on a 20 back, and, you know, it almost looked too perfect, right? It just looks so nice. So it did sell one bid, $800, and it looks legit just looking at it. I don't see anything that really stands out as being questionable. You can see the miscut on the racetrack on the back there. I think that's got a good chance at an 80 grade. I think it probably pretty easily gets an 80 grade. $800, that seems like a pretty fair deal to me. And then here was another early Princess Leia. This was a UKG 75 21 back B, and you can see what held the score back. This one had a sticker that was attempted to be peeled off, so that held the overall score down to a 75 with two high subscores of 85 and 80. But because of that damage, you really can't get above a 75. I think it's appropriately graded, and $650 was the final winning bid. 47 bids on that one as well, so lots of action. But that was a nice one, and I think it's worth every penny of $650. Here was a die-cast Land Speeder mint on card. This one was ungraded, but it looked really nice shape. One little crease right above the hang tab there that you can see. Did have a price sticker that was marked through with marker, and then another price sticker on top of that. So One little piece of damage on the racetrack on the right-hand side. $306 was the final price on that. I think that's a pretty good deal there as well for the early 12-back land speeder diecast. Beautiful condition for the blister on that one. On to some ESBs. This one was a 41 back A Han Solo, the survival kit offer, 85 grade. Wow, big time item here, big time. Clear blister, 80, 85, 85. This was from Brian's Toys again, and a punched example, no price sticker, but that one was a beauty. 1151, big number there. But again, it is the 85 grade. I can't imagine that there's too many more that are 85 or higher. So I bet that that one benefited from the population report being online now. But that one was a really nice looking Han on the 41A. That's not a combination you see very often for Han. You don't usually see the survival kit 41A Han Solo first 12 very often. So that was a beauty. Here was that Lando that I think I also had in my what to buy video. Clear blister, price sticker upper left. It was punched. 80, 85, 85 were the sub scores. 31 back B, $482. That's a price I'd pay in a heartbeat. All day long I'd pay that. That's a beautiful example there. Here is another survival kit offer. This is a more common Han on the 41A. Clear blister. I don't know what this one's going to grade out at, but Gold Star Tech, for some of their listings, they include a lot of photos, and then others they don't. And some of them, which you'll see here in a little bit, it's very basic photos, lots of reflection in the AFA case, the sliding acrylic case. For whatever reason, on this one, they included a lot of photos, and I like it when he does that, because this one, to me, it looks like it's in really good shape. I mean, that's a really nice-looking 41A, and it sold for a big number accordingly. $760. I think that's got the 80 or 80 plus written all over it pretty easily there. Very nice one. $760 was the final winning bid. Here was a yellowed blister Sand People on a 41E. And we've seen a lot of 41E Sand People lately. This one had the JCPenney price sticker, punched example. And see, this is one where they just showed it inside the sliding acrylic case. So you don't really know what you're getting there. And, the prices are going to reflect that. If I'm the seller, you need to try and give a lot of different angles like you did for that 41A Han Solo Hoth. You're just taking a lot more buying risk. Now, in all fairness to this seller, he does accept returns. Okay, no questions asked. He'll do free returns, which is nice. So you can oftentimes, the only benefit, I think, if you're willing to roll the dice on some of these that don't have a lot of photos, you can get them in hand. And I'm not saying that you want to abuse the return policy, but based on the photos, if you can oftentimes get maybe some good deals. And maybe this is one of those where you got it for $268. It is a yellowed blister, but a clear blister for this particular car back. We've seen some graded that have gone anywhere from $550 to $650. So I think that one was a really nice deal at $268. Here was the 47 back R2-D2 sensor scope. Potentially has a yellow blister. It's really hard to tell. To me, it looks clear. That's just me looking at it, but it did have some damage by the hang tabs, which held the price back a little bit at $445 in an auction. So, best case scenario, this grades a 75 with those two big creases above the hang tab. But that's another really nice mint-on card. And here is one that's going to be really interesting to see how it turns out. A Patreon supporter got this one. And so they're rolling the dice a little bit because, as I mentioned, the photos, you're seeing all these weird reflections. And I'm pretty sure that this weird spot by the name pill is just reflections from his camera stand. So I'm hopeful that this one is in as good a condition as I think it is. But this is the transition card 48 back D and for the AT-AT driver. And, it was a punched example, no price sticker. But, again, you're just taking a little bit of risk there that this thing is as presentable as I think it is. But you got it for $255. That's a pretty good deal on a clear blister transition card AT-AT driver. I mean, if that's as good as I think it is, that's almost borderline a steal of a deal. So I hope it hasn't arrived yet to my Patreon supporter and buddy, but I'm hopeful that it's as nice as it looks. Looking past the damage there. Now, on the other end of the spectrum was this one. I can't believe this one went this high. This was a yellowed blister for the same card back, the 48 back Return of the Jedi 9-num offer for Lobot. Now, it was already graded archival case AFA 75, but it was a yellowed blister, 80, 75, 85, and it sold for $610. So, you could make an argument that This one with the clear blister could grade the same grade, 75 plus or higher, and you're getting it for less than half the price. So who knows why this one went as high as it did. Lobot on this card back is hard to find, in all fairness. You don't see them very often. My buddy Blacked Out Ewoks on YouTube, I know he's got one of these in high grade. But, you know, Lobot on this particular card back just doesn't pop up terribly often. So 610, though, to me, it feels a little high relative to this one. But you're also not taking the grading risk on this one like you are with the AT-AT driver. Next up was a Yellow Blister Star Destroyer Commander 77A, 172 bucks, good deal. It was yellowed, of course, but looked to be in pretty good shape overall. Really good shape, really. And then this I thought was a great deal. This was a clear blister Bespin Security Guard on the same card back, the 77A, $168.50. I mean, yes, please. That's the price I'd pay. I mean, this has got an 80 grade written all over it. And, you know, any 70, I don't care what the character is, any 77A with a clear blister, it's really tough to find these days because those blisters are just because of the type of material and raw materials that were used to make these later Return of the Jedi blisters. They just always yellow. It's a fire retardant, apparently, a fire retardant chemical that was in the later Return of the Jedi cardback blisters that cause it to yellow. So if you see a clear blister and you can get it for this kind of price in this kind of condition, that's a bargain of a deal. Next up was a 79 back for the AT-ST driver, a little bit less common. It did have some yellowing, very light yellowing to the blister. That one sold for 131 bucks. Again, probably about an 80 grade, a little bit of card wave to it, but overall looked very clean. Next up was interestingly, a yellowed blister. Now, I think this one is a French Meccano blister, and you know, BOE or some of you Tri-Logo experts can certainly correct me if I'm wrong here, but it looks like the very tiny, thin Meccano blister relative to my Palitoy blister, which is much larger and the figure can rattle around inside. And the Meccano blisters do yellow much easier. I've got a Meccano blister, Yak Face, and that one is yellowed. And I think I've probably got one or two others that are like that. So it's a common thing. You know, again, it comes down to probably the type of blister or the type of materials used to make those particular blisters. But it seems like, to me anyway, Meccano blisters, or these smaller, thinner blisters, I assume they're Meccano blisters, they do tend to yellow over time. I've never seen one quite this bad. Usually it's a much lighter yellowing, but that one is a very pronounced yellowing. $376 on that, still a great deal. I mean, my AFA 80, I think I paid in the ballpark of 650 bucks, 675, somewhere in there. So $376 for a yellow blister and a harder to find blister variation for that particular character. I think that's not a bad deal at all. On to some Power of the Force figures. They had a Paploo. That one sold for $167.50. I mean, for a mint on card, last 17 figure in pretty good shape. It is yellowed, but, you know, Paploo is, what, 125 to 150 bucks sometimes, loose complete. So $167.50 is a borderline steal. Likewise, Ramba, this one sold for $230.50. Absolutely great deal on an unpunched, no price sticker, ungraded example there. And then Luke Skywalker, this was another great deal. $318 for a mint on card Luke battle poncho. I mean, even on Rogue 5 Toys, we do routinely see loose graded or loose complete figures near this number. So $318 is, again, a borderline highway robbery. And then finally was an AFA 85 A-Wing pilot, no price sticker, unpunched, absolute gem. That one sold for $565. So I don't know what's going on with why some of these auctions fell under the radar, but we've certainly seen prices in the $700-800 plus range for an AFA 85. Straight 85s for the subscore. Again, these auctions in particular for the Power of the Force figures really fell underneath the radar. So congrats if you happen to pick up any of those. Thank you as always for watching. Please leave me a like if you enjoyed the video, and I'll be back soon.